At you as I love to do every weekday over the television airwaves, radio airwaves of ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show coming at you nationwide, 250-plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM, FM dial nearest you, plus ESPN radios on Sirius XM, Channel 80. Also ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. That's Credit Karma, K-A-R-M-A. Get knowing. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. Got a lot of stuff to get into today. Landon Collins for the New York Giants has been informed he will not be franchise tagged, basically putting him on a free agent market, according to sources. Leaves a lot of questions about what the hell the New York Giants were thinking about doing. Even though they could still re-sign him, they could still take care of him and keep him in tow. Bottom line is that he's scheduled to be a free agent. I don't know how wise that was on the part of the New York Giants. Why the hell you didn't trade him last year if you knew you was going to do this? Makes no sense whatsoever. But we'll get into that as the show progresses today. I got to tell y'all this, and I just got to say this because it's very, very important that I get this off my chest. I cannot wait for baseball season to start. Being a native New Yorker, knowing what the expectations are for the New York Yankees, whether it's because of Judge or Stanton, whether it's because of Happ, the new lefty Paxton, or CeCe Sabathia returning for a swan song, no matter what the situation is, I'm praying for the New York Yankees because there is no good news coming out of New York City for sports. No good news whatsoever. When you listen to Kyrie and you listen to Kevin Durant and you listen to Jeannie Buss and everybody else in between complaining about the media and beyond, if you complain about the media anywhere else, imagine how you'll complain about them in New York City. So the Yankees are the only thing that gives me any hope that New York City will have any reason to celebrate. But I digress because I'm in L.A. And being in L.A., I was at the Staples Center last night. And if you're a Clippers fan, you got a lot to be happy about. You beat the Los Angeles Lakers last night. You've essentially ensured they will not be a playoff team this year. You're 37-29. You're 8 games over 500. You're in the 8th slot for the playoff picture. If the players were to begin today, the 7th slot. If the players were to begin today, you'd be going against the Denver Nuggets. You do not have a star. You do not have a marquee star. You don't have any of that going on for you. Yet Doc Rivers has done an exceptional job coaching. The players have done an exceptional job playing. They got a bunch of Rough Riders on there. Ain't scared of anybody. They beat the Los Angeles Lakers last night. They made sure to remind me that they'll have enough space for 2 max players. They're going to move into a new arena within the next 4 to 5 years. You got a billionaire owner. You got an executive as a consultant in Jerry West, who is universally recognized as arguably the greatest executive in the history of basketball. This side of Red Auerbach. You got a coach in Doc Rivers, assuming he stays. You got a billionaire owner worth $22 billion to be exact. The upside for the Clippers is good. The Lakers are an entirely different story. What a disaster that has taken place before our very eyes. And I'm not going to lie to you. Last night, I didn't feel the need to be critical of LeBron James, nor do I today. Ladies and gentlemen, my heart goes out to him. I watched this man throw the ball to open players. Kuzma before he got hurt. Bullock. Rondo played well last night. Had a triple-double, actually. Hart made a contribution, but not as consistently as we may have liked. JaVale McGee got bullied. Montrezl Harrell came into the game and just bullied him so badly. You had Luke Walton calling timeouts in frustration. You had LeBron James sucking his teeth and rolling his eyes at JaVale McGee. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? What's going on? At one point, several times, LeBron was playing the 5. Because everybody else was just getting pushed around. And it's not the first time we've seen the Lakers suffer at the hands of somebody who's bigger, badder, and meaner. Julius Randle did it to them when New Orleans came into town. Anybody who's physical, that has a decent amount of size on the Los Angeles Lakers, the Lakers end up getting punked. Tyson Chandler can't play, next strain. This kid Zubac that the Lakers traded for some dude named Muscala. Supposedly he could shoot. I didn't see it. Supposedly he could play. I didn't see it. But the Lakers traded for him, and traded away a 21-year-old center with a big body and skills to the team sharing the damn building and the city with him. I mean, you just can't make this up. You just can't make this up. I mean, this is unbelievable. You look at the Lakers right now, it's hard to put into words. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a mess. From the top on down. Now, I'm not going to be too critical of Miss Jeanie Buss. I did not agree with her statement at the Sloan Sports Analytics Conference, where she talked about the media and fake news. I think Bill Plaschke for the Los Angeles Times is going to have something to say about her with that. But I would say, as I respectfully, because I definitely do respect her a great deal, I would say respectfully, she needs to distinguish between the media and the blogosphere. Social media and bloggers who don't have editors and don't have anybody to answer to as it pertains to their coverage of respective athletes and teams is entirely different than the media. And the media in this town has been incredibly fair to Jeanie Buss and the Lakers. Incredibly fair to her. The Los Angeles Lakers haven't been in the playoffs in 5 years. As of 2 weeks from now, it'll be 6. Hell with that. It is 6 already. Because I said it officially last night. This season's over. I don't even have to wait a couple weeks. But they've been incredibly fair to Jeanie Buss. And she's a wonderful person. No malice intent. Her heart's in the right place. She's thinking about the players that are on that squad. She looks at them as kids affectionately, of course. Whose mental approach, whose mindset needs to be protected. Her heart's in the right place. But she was wrong with what she said because Magic was quoted. We were talking to the Pelicans. We didn't believe they negotiated in good faith. LeBron's been quoted. I think I'd very much like to play with Anthony Davis. We all know what time it is. And you look at this roster and the way that they played. They can't close. They can't finish. And outside of pointing fingers too demonstrably in public towards his teammates at times, which LeBron James has been known to do. The biggest thing that we haven't talked about when it comes to LeBron James, my God, my brother, what happened to your free throw shooting? I mean, he hit 8 of 12 last night, around 66%. That's what he's been shooting for the season. I mean, come on. LeBron coming into the season was like a career 73% shooter, which wasn't that damn impressive. Now you've dissipated or diminished to 66%. I mean, come on. Damon Jones is looking for work. Former sharpshooter in the NBA, friend of LeBron James. By the way, one would argue some of LeBron James' best shooting is when Damon Jones was around. Coaching. I mean, do something. This is one of the things that has ailed LeBron James periodically for years. First, it was his fear over his inability to make free throws. So as a result, he was scared to go to the free throw line, and he would lean on perimeter shots. Then he overcame that fear, and in some instances made clutch free throws, which he deserves a lot of credit for. And now it's not about fear or anything like that. He's just missing. Lakers go on a run. They foul LeBron. He goes to the free throw line. Always misses at least one. Sometimes two. Against Phoenix Saturday night. Against the Clippers last night. And many other occasions this season. Make your damn free throws. You ain't Shaq or Wilt Chamberlain. Make your damn free throws. But that's about it. Other than that, I'm not going to look at him. We talk about these young kids for the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, it's bad. We want to talk about the injury bug. Okay, that's fine. But the bottom line is there has been a collapse since Christmas Day. It started with LeBron James getting hurt and missing 18 games, but it continued once he came back. Healthy or unhealthy, since Christmas, the Lakers have been a shell of themselves. They've gone from the 4th seed to the 10th seed. They've gone from being destined to knock off somebody to the playoffs to not even getting there. And on top of it all, they lost to the Clippers. And ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. They're losing to the Clippers in more ways than one. We hear about acrimony and dysfunctionality in the Lakers organization. We ain't hearing none of that about the Clippers. We're not hearing any of that about the Clippers. You got a billionaire in Steve Ballmer who's got arguably the greatest executive in the history of the sport as his right hand, and the man who's directly in his ear in Jerry West, who, by the way, wants to compete against Magic and the Lakers more than anybody on the planet. We got Doc Rivers coaching his butt off. We got Lawrence Frank and his crew manning things in the front office. You don't hear about any drama. Lakers may get headlines, Clippers getting W's. And oh, by the way, before long, the way things are looking, the reason why the Lakers are in danger of losing more is because the Clippers might win the headlines. Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Clippers do not have a star. They have everything else. I can't think of a weakness they have. I mean, even from a public relations standpoint, PR, media relations, whatever you want to call it. I ain't going to give anybody the edge over the Lakers because I love me some Allison Bogley and her staff. They're wonderful. But even with the Clippers, you got my man Chris Wallace, who I go back years with. He's one of the best in the business at what he does. They don't have a weakness in the Clippers organization right now. And they're going to have space for 2 max players. They think they're getting 2 guys. Not 1, 2. With Gilgeous-Alexander, with Patrick Beverley, with Gallinari, with Harrell, with Lou Williams. Mr. Energizer Bunny scoring, but see, he's a professional scorer, by the way. Coming off the bench. Reasonable contracts. And this is the stepchild to the Lakers. They don't even have their own arena yet. And look at them. It's the same situation with Brooklyn In New York, we all talking about the Knicks. Excuse me. I understand it's a huge detriment, and it could end up working against the Brooklyn Nets. I'm talking about the traffic in Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn, which ain't appealing to a damn soul. Rats and roaches look for a different path in Brooklyn. It's so damn congested on Atlantic Avenue. But I'll tell you something. To not have any stars and to play the way that they have played this year, Sean Marks, Kenny Atkinson, and those boys, they're doing something nice in Brooklyn. And if you think for 1 second that they don't have a shot at getting somebody to come to Brooklyn, you are sadly mistaken. I have spoken to folks about the Kevin Durant's, the Kyries of the world, and others. Everybody talking about them going to the New York Knicks. Everybody, you know what they said to me? You know what folks have said to me? Excuse me, we said New York. Who said the Knicks? There's only one other team in New York. You can't rule out anything. I mean, this is some serious stuff. In the two largest markets in the United States of America, with two brands, although they haven't been winning in a long time, still synonymous with the sport and worth billions. Because if the Clippers were purchased for $2 billion, could you imagine what the Knicks are worth? Could you imagine what the Lakers are worth? If Steve Ballmer paid $2 billion for the Clippers, how much do you think the Lakers would sell for? How much do you think the Knicks would sell for? Yet you have the Lakers and the Knicks, both worth north of $3.5 to $4 billion. They may lose out to the Nets and the Clippers. This is not a joke. I am not playing. Yes, I sit in studio doing First Take. Yes, I sit on a radio show doing what I do. Yes, I'm stuck in studio a lot. But you don't see people who's on TV and on radio as much as I am, also in that arena as much as I am. I ain't going to brag about skills. I ain't going to brag about all of this other stuff. But you know what I will brag about? My work ethic. Ain't too many damn people on this planet outwork me. That I will brag about. And I'm telling you, I don't go to no damn games to sit there and just watch games. When I go to the arena, I'm always talking to folks. I move. Just like that. It's what I do. And I'm telling you, this summer, the Nets and the Clippers are seriously threatening to get in the way of the Lakers and the Knicks. This is no joke. And I'm telling you what I know. So I'm just asking all of yous, to pay attention. Because this stuff is getting serious. If you're LeBron James, narrative keeps changing, listening to his camp. And I hope they're listening. Narrative keeps changing. Oh, man, this roster works. You got guys that can play the point, guys that can handle the rock, handle the responsibility. So LeBron doesn't want to have the ball. So LeBron doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. He doesn't want the ball in his hands anyway. You can leave that to somebody else. Take the load off of his shoulders. The roster's great. Now, look who he's playing with. He ain't got nobody. I mean, damn, he's only one person. This ain't tennis. He can't do it by himself. Stephen A., come on, man. 1 minute the Lakers are priority. The next minute it's Space Jam. You know that movie that Michael Jordan did? Sequel's coming out in 2020. It starred Michael Jordan years ago. Now it's going to star LeBron James, who, by the way, I'm here to predict will do a phenomenal job. LeBron James got skills. And I forgot the name of the movie. It just escapes me. It'll come back to me in a second. Maybe Nuno and them remember it. The movie he did with that girl. LeBron did a hell of a job. He did a hell of a job. Train wreck. That's what it is. LeBron did a hell of a job. And I think he's going to do a hell of a job with Space Jam. Because the one thing I will give LeBron an edge, I think LeBron's a better actor than Michael Jordan. I really do. And I think LeBron's going to do a hell of a job with Space Jam. But understand what the plan was. The plan was to make the playoffs this year. The plan was to be contenders next year and march towards competing legitimately for a championship, knocking on the door of that championship. So once Space Jam came out, you own the world. But that is not what's happening right now. What's happening right now instead is that the Lakers are struggling miserably. And LeBron James is on the cusp of not being able to get anybody to come play with him in L.A. I know that everybody from Magic to Genie and everybody in between thinks that everybody wants to be a Laker. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just not true. Paul George didn't come here. Paul George has no problem with LeBron James. But from what I'm being told, his narrative was similar to what Kevin Durant expressed when he went off a few months ago about being a teammate of LeBron's. When you win, it's because of him. When you lose, it's your fault. There is no win for anybody else when you're playing with LeBron James in this day and age. May not be LeBron's fault. Nobody's blaming him for that. Might be the media. But it's the reality. And it's a reality that a lot of people don't want to deal with. And ladies and gentlemen, that's just the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. We'll get back to your calls and more in a minute before the wonderful Ramona Shelburne, reporter extraordinaire for ESPN, ESPN.com. She'll be on the show with us to start off hour number 2. But again, I'll get to your calls because I got a lot more to talk about in a minute. If you haven't tried the delicious high-quality meat from ButcherBox, you're going to be blown away. From grass-fed beef to free-range organic chicken to wild-caught sockeye salmon from Bristol Bay, Alaska, ButcherBox has over 20 different cuts of meat to choose from, all raised humanely with no antibiotics or hormones ever. With free shipping, you can get a month's worth of the best-tasting meat from ButcherBox for less than $6 a meal. ButcherBox is offering my listeners free ground beef for the life of your subscription and $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Stephen A. That's butcherbox.com/Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Back with your calls and more in a minute.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm
Hold
Stephen
off
A.
as
You
long
can
as y'all
follow him on
can.
Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.